How long is too long? That is the question posed today in this podcast. 10 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes. When a student at Ball State needs care, the health center is the place they go to. The Ball State University Health Center is utilized by many students seeking medical care. Because the health center is conveniently located between Kinghorn and the Recreation Center, it is the first option that students think of when they need care. While the convenience and the flexibility are perks to using the BSU Health Center, there is a downfall, mainly involving the punctuality of the center itself. The Ball State University Health Center renders long durations of waiting for Ball State students seeking care, which presents a problem for those who have classes and other important activities requiring their attendance. A solution to this problem needs to be addressed, but before that can happen, field research had to be conducted. Over the span of 3 days, I conducted observations and interviews within the health center. I came on different days of the week and at different times for about 1.5 to 2 hours. I watched and recorded the wait times of students seeking medical care, and on these particular 3 days, the wait times ranged from 10 minutes to 1 hour, and these wait times only include how long the student waited in the waiting room to be called back into the actual doctor's office, which means these wait times do not account for the actual time spent in the doctor's office, and it also doesn't include the wait times for prescriptions to be filled. On these 3 days, I conducted interviews with fellow students waiting to be seen. The first question I ask is if the person has ever visited the health center before, and I use this question because it presents the opportunity to follow up with and how was your experience that time?
All right, have you ever visited the health center before?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever visited the health center before?
Yeah, once my sophomore year.
Catherine Powell? Okay. Have you ever visited the health center before?
This was my first time today.
Have you ever visited the health center before?
I have.
Okay.
Have you ever visited the health center before?
Yes, I have.
Well, many of those who I interviewed had been to the health center before. My next question was how their experience was. Could you tell me a little bit about that experience?
I walked in, got a ticket, waited for like 30 minutes, and then they told me to go get an x-ray at the hospital.
Could you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Let's see, when you walk in, they tell you to sign in, and then I sat down and waited for 3 hours for my appointment. And then they called my name, and I went to like this little room and waited probably more like 20 more minutes, maybe more than 20 minutes.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Well, I was having trouble with my foot. I wasn't really sure what was wrong, but I went and I signed in, and it took him like 2 hours just to get me back there.
Could you tell me a little bit about that experience? I went in there, signed my name, waited about like an hour and a half, and when I went in, they looked at me and then, let me go on my way and gave me some medicine for it. Okay. Do you feel like that was a long amount of time to be waiting? I feel like from what I was going in for, it was a long amount of time, but it is a first come, first served basis, so I guess just the time I was going was what everyone else wanted to go to. After hearing those responses, I began to wonder if people even felt like their time was being valued while they were at the health center. Do you feel like your time is valued at the health center?
I feel like it's valued. There's just a ton of people there also trying to get service, and their time is also valued.
Okay, do you feel like your time is valued at the health center?
Not really. No, you wait way too long, and you're only seen for like 4 minutes.
Do you feel like your time is valued there?
No.
No.
I missed class.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Similar to what Claire had said about missing class because of waiting times, I had a similar experience my freshman year when I very first used the health center. I'm pretty sure I had pneumonia. I'm very susceptible to it, and I just did not feel good. I knew I needed to get a prescription to clear it up, so I visited the health center. Got there probably 11:30. I went as soon as I woke up. I walked straight there. I signed in with the little kiosk. They called my name, and I filled out the paperwork, and I waited and waited and waited. Eventually, they called me into the back room. You see, I had a chemistry exam at 2 o'clock, and that was 40 minutes away. The doctor still hadn't come in to see me yet, so I had to make a choice, either stay there and miss my exam or just go and leave without a prescription. I left there angry and exhausted, and with pressure in my chest and what felt like a balloon for a head, I took my chemistry exam, and then I went back to my dorm sicker than ever and without a prescription. As a pattern about wait times emerged, I began to seek out the answers. So I sought out the person who receives probably the most complaints firsthand, a secretary named Patricia Lemon. Because I recorded my interview with Patricia on my phone, I did not get the best recording of her voice. So I will include what Patricia says, but then I will also add a part with my recorded voice of what she says.
Would you say there's like a time of the week or a day of the week or a specific time that's the busiest? Like, when would you recommend a person to come in?
First thing in the morning. Any day
First
of the
thing
week.
in the morning?
Because after lunchtime, the wait time doubles.
The wait time doubles around then. Do you think it's just because
Well,
students
because
wake up and then come, or do you think it's because of classes?
Well, if we go down to half staff at lunchtime, so if there's an hour wait at lunchtime, all of a sudden you're going to jump to a 2-hour wait because now there's half the staff back there.
Right.
Everybody gets out of class at 11:50, so then they start piling in at noon. At noon, we're not even caught up from what we had done in the morning, you know,
Right.
so that's when the wait starts.
First thing in the morning. Because after lunchtime, the wait times double. Well, we go to half staff at lunchtime. There's an hour wait at lunchtime, and all of a sudden, you're going to jump to a 2-hour wait because there's only half the staff back there. Everyone gets out of class at 11:50, so they're going to start piling in at noon when you're trying to get caught up from the morning, so that's when the wait starts.
Were they trying to work on the waiting times? Like, did they know that was an issue?
Yes, we have a box out here. We put it out 1 week a month, and we have surveys, so the people that will actually answer the survey for us, you know, we take those into account, we write them all down, we have them in our staff meetings, and we sit there and brainstorm what to do. So, I mean, the only way that we don't improve is if people don't fill out the surveys.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know, or if they're mad
I didn't
because
know
they're
you
waiting
guys
for
had
3
those
hours.
surveys, so that was a really good thing on your guys'
You know,
part.
if they're waiting there
yeah.
for 3 hours, of course they're mad, and they run through, and you get bad, you know, so
Right.
you kind of figure which ones are more towards the true part and which ones are more towards the false part.
Yes, we have a box out here. We put it out here 1 week a month, and we have surveys so that people will actually answer the survey for us. You know, we take those into account, we write them all down, and we have them at our staff meetings, and we sit there and brainstorm what to do. So, I mean, the only way we don't improve is if the people don't fill out the surveys or if they're mad because, you know, if they're waiting for 3 hours, of course they're mad, and they're going to run through and you get bad, and bad, you know. So you figure kind of what parts are more towards the true part and what are more towards the false parts. Sorry again for the audio malfunction with Patricia Lemon's interview. Anyways, Patricia gave me some great insight into the health center and its operations. She acknowledged the wait times and how they have a survey box put out each month for suggestions. Ultimately, when I very first set out to begin this field research, I asked myself, why is it done this way? And is there a better way? What are we doing to solve this obvious problem and change? And when I interviewed other people, they didn't have a clear-cut answer to this problem either.
How do you think that this could be improved? Good question. Probably, I feel like there's a more efficient way to get people through. Like, I feel like people wait there so often. I don't really know how or what that is. Maybe, like, hire more people.
Regarding the time issue, do you think there's anything they can do to help solve that problem?
Other than make people have to schedule appointments, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of having the health center, I feel like.
Yeah, because it's on a first-come, first-served basis.
Yeah, otherwise people would just go to their own doctors if they're not scheduling an appointment.
Do you have any recommendations for how they can improve?
I'm pretty sure they probably have enough like nurses and doctors, but just use their time more wisely.
Do you think there's any solutions to this problem, the time problem?
I don't think so because it is a first-come, first-served basis, and you can't really control how many people go in at one time unless you want to do an appointment system, and that kind of defeats the purpose.
Well, many people didn't have any ideas about what to do with the waits at the health center. I did a little bit of research online to see exactly what can be done and to kind of give me some creative juices flowing in my brain. And one of the very first things I saw was receiving a text message when you're next. If maybe Ball State could develop an app or maybe show on their website how long the wait times and how many people are already in the waiting room ready to be seen, that might be able to reduce the traffic flow on certain days at certain times, because people will be able to see, oh, it's busy right now, there's a lot of people, maybe I should wait for it to die down, or maybe I should go off campus and go to a minute clinic, or maybe I should just go another day. They have this app for the rec center where you can see that there's a high amount of people working out, and people utilize that and say, oh, well, I'll just work out maybe in an hour and see if it dies down. It has like a little green symbol for good, medium is yellow, and then high, there's a lot of high volume of people is red. And I think that would be pretty useful too, especially in the cold and flu season. All in all, many Ball State students have experienced a period of waiting at the health center on campus. In this podcast, several interviewees expressed their opinions and experiences, which helped bring together this project. The Ball State University Health Center is utilized by many students because of its convenient location. Now, if only the health center could prevent or lessen the long durations of waiting times for students who have already committed to classes and other activities for that day. Overall, my suggestion is developing an app for the health center to help reduce the traffic flow and the times. Thank you.